Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Modern Customer Podcast. I'm your host, Blake Morgan. Today, my guest is Darrel Alfonso. Darrel is the Director of Marketing Strategy and Operations for Indeed.com. He's the author of the Martech Handbook, Building a Technology Stack to Attract and Retain Customers. I found Darrel because I was researching LinkedIn courses, and he has an amazing LinkedIn course on building a marketing technology stack, which is not an easy topic to teach. But Darrel's a good person to teach it because he spent 4 years leading marketing for Amazon Web Services, and now he's in a marketing strategy and operations role for Indeed.com. Indeed has 13,000 employees. Darrel has an incredible LinkedIn following. We're talking about building a marketing technology stack that is customer-centric and so much more. Please enjoy Darrel Alfonso. Hey, Darrel, welcome to the Modern Customer Podcast. About 75 minutes from me, depending on the day in Irvine. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks, Blake. Thanks for having me, and excited about our discussion today.
Yeah, we were just chatting. I found you because you've done a few courses and things. And I mean, your course topic was marketing technology stack. Mine was customer experience. These are not easy things to teach. I was looking through your background. I mean, you started as a consultant. Not many young people can just start out the gate like consulting. So that's amazing. So let's go back to like graduating college. Like, what special skill did you realize you had? And then you started obviously selling like right out of school, which is amazing.
Yeah, no, good question. I really thought that I wanted to go into physical therapy, and I actually studied biology. So different, it took a turn. I eventually found myself kind of going from job to job. I started at a startup doing sales and marketing. And when I learned about business and how you could make money, my eyes lit up. It felt like I was playing a game, and I was like, where has this been all my life? So that's how I got introduced to the business world. And I found myself, I think the skills that I had was I was quite technical. It was tough for marketers or business leaders to really understand what kind of tools do you need, how do they connect together, how do they create a good customer experience. And I also found that if you were a marketing technologist, they're sometimes called, it pays pretty well. So
Hmm.
that's how I started, and I started to work at pretty pretty big companies and started to make a name for myself, delivering really great technical solutions. That Amazon came calling. So my wife and I moved up to Amazon to work for AWS to manage their MarTech stack. And we were there for about 3 to 4 years. We decided it was a little bit too rainy over there, even though we do
Yeah.
like the like the people. And my current role is Director of Marketing Strategy and Operations at Indeed.com, which is the world's largest hiring and matching platform. And I will say the last thing about my intro is during all that time, I did write a book. My publisher is Kogan Page. It's called the Martech Handbook and available wherever businesses are sold. Sorry, or books are sold. Sorry about the shameless plug there.
No, that's the whole point of this podcast. It's really hard to have a day job and then do things like write books on the side. So I applaud that. Let's go back to your time at AWS. I mean, I shamelessly talk about Amazon all the time because they are one of the more customer centric companies. And I'm curious, like, did you find that? Were you impressed with the way they ran the business, like, kind of like military style approach to operations, or was it, did you find it frustrating to navigate?
That's a good question. There are some things that seem eccentric. I'll give you a really quick example. Some of your listeners may know. You're not allowed to use PowerPoint. So you can only, when you're holding a meeting, to prepare, you have to write a 6-page document.
Mm-hmm.
And when the meeting starts, even if it's 20, 30, 50 people, the first 20 minutes of the meeting is done in silence, and you just read the document together.
Yeah.
And I thought that that level of rigor, just dedication to the details and to the numbers, and that I thought was amazing operations. I think the second thing is just the dedication to, it's just the customer obsession takes your work to the next level. And I love this interview question that they asked me, which was, tell me about a time when you took something in your business that was working well for a customer and how you made it even better. So that is that, like, dissatisfaction with the status quo and things that are even working, like you need to do it even better. And I think that you see that throughout all of Amazon's practices. I'm happy to give you more examples like from the business, but just that culture, I think I was very impressed with, and really enjoyed my time there.
Yeah, it really is a commitment to the core principles of Amazon, to things that are uncomfortable, but it doesn't matter because it's the right thing to do. Like, yeah, I could just envision all these executives sitting around, like even up to 50, like sitting there and having to be quiet and shuffling the papers. And then the person who is leading the meeting sweating a bit because every word, everything they wrote matters so much, but it does distill the idea down to the basics. And I think that's why Jeff Bezos does that. It forced the person running the meeting to make sure that they really took everyone's time seriously. Let's talk about building. I mean, you ran a marketing tech stack for a tech organization that really didn't necessarily need marketing. I mean, they obviously did. Everyone needs marketing, but I mean, AWS, like, wow, what a ride. I mean, where do you even begin, like in the first 90 days? Could you mind sharing like what your focus was?
Yeah, yeah. I think that, um, one of the things I do hear that a lot, like where you have such a great product, whether it's Amazon or AWS or even at my current company, do you really need marketing? I hear that question a lot. And at AWS, believe it or not, there were like over 2,000 marketers. And
Oh, wow.
even at Indeed, there's hundreds.
Wait, let me
And
just
I think,
ask you, did you run a team at AWS or were you individual contributor?
yeah, run a team, small team of people that manage the tech stack. Yeah,
Hmm.
I think that there's a couple things. I really like the Peter Drucker quote, which is that there's only two functions of business, and one is marketing, and the second is innovation. So if you think about everything that goes into what customers see and experience and learn and are educated, all of that's marketing. So for example, a big portion of our marketing department was training and development, training and certification, right? So with AWS, you have a suite of technology products that power some of the world's biggest businesses and startups. But you know, you still need to learn how to connect those applications together, how to architect great cloud computing architecture. And to do that, you have this world of developers that are hungry to learn. And I think that was one of the main core focuses of our marketing, was to educate. How do they do that? Because as these developers and IT professionals become more successful with the AWS platform, they start to use it more. So it's this nice little flywheel effect.
Yeah.
I would say my first 90 days was just trying to figure out what was going on, and
Yeah. Mhm.
figuring out who does what, who the people are, and what the biggest priorities were. And I personally discovered that we really needed to raise the bar on our email communication. Make sure that
Mhm.
customers weren't getting too many emails. Make sure that there was some sort of story that was happening, like a narrative happening, in the email inbox, and not this disjointed, you know. blob of messages that people get into their email inbox. And
Mm-hmm.
another thing, one of the things that we started to work on was trying to match the right message to the right customer. And I think that at the enterprise level, and we're trying to do that too at my current company, at the enterprise level, you've got millions and pretty much billions of emails going out each year. So how do we make sure that those emails are crafted for the right customer, but also like not just based on who they are or what their demographic is or what industry they're in, but also what they've been interested in the past. So there's an incredible amount of time that goes into this matching algorithm of matching the right message to the right customer.
Yeah, I mean, just to wrap up your time at Amazon, I mean, what you were doing, you were educating people at the time probably about the cloud, and you were also selling this new product. So it's almost like twofold. It's like, well, what is the cloud and why is it so important for your contact center and everything that you do? And why should you listen to us? Like, what makes ours different than the other cloud providers? Let's switch gears and talk about Indeed. I like that you talk about the algorithm matching. Increasingly, we're seeing that employee experience, it is almost like a customer experience, especially when you're looking at an employee as like a buyer and they're buying like an opportunity in a way. Can you just talk about how your philosophy on what you do at Indeed and how you think about the product that you offer?
Yeah, I think that just from a high level, our Indeed's mission is to help people get jobs.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel that we have such an important obligation because we have over 350 million people on the site each
That's
month
a lot. Oh my
looking
God.
for work and, thousands of businesses, both large and small,
So
hiring.
that's global.
It's global. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, we are a global company. So when we think about that's our job. So every team at Indeed plays a different role. So the product team is making the product as easy to use as possible so that when job seekers are searching for jobs, the right jobs come up. When employers are trying to hire, the right job seekers are surfaced with the right resumes. So that's product. I really see marketing's role as reaching as many people and as many businesses as we can and really putting them together in a marketplace, right? Because that's what it really is. It's a two-sided marketplace. You have businesses that are signing up to Indeed to find candidates, and you have job seekers that are signing up on this side to find jobs. And what we really are trying to do now is trying to match them together. You know, kind of like Airbnb, right? You have people looking for a nice rental, for their vacation, and then you have people renting out their house or renting out their apartment. So in the same way, we're trying to make those connections. So marketing's job then is to make people aware, businesses aware that they can find the best candidates on Indeed. Make job seekers aware that they can find their next step in their career on Indeed. Also, let them know what some of the best practices to do that are, whether it's education or within the platform serving up those features. So happy to dive into anything that I've said, but at a high level, that's how I think about it.
I mean, when I was younger, I think I got most of my jobs through job sites, probably Indeed. And the matching, I would think now is obviously way better than many years ago when I was using it. I mean, I would assume AI is a big piece of your product now. What have been the major changes even in the last like chunk of time in how you're using AI to accurately match and personalize for both parties?
Yeah, that's a good point. I think there's a few things. I think that one of them is matching is such a big deal for us because if an employer is looking to hire a key role for their business, they don't want candidates to surface or appear in their search results that are unqualified, that are outside of the geography that they're looking for, and a host of other reasons. So they want that perfect fit, someone that they know can do the job. And I think at the same time, job seekers want to know that they're going to be working for an employer that will fairly compensate them, and has the attributes of a company that they really want to be part of. So when that search happens, I think there's a lot of AI capabilities that come into play to make that happen. The other thing that's really interesting that we're doing is we are using AI to automatically create job descriptions and automatically create message templates, both from an employer standpoint and from a job seeker
Hmm.
standpoint. Because I think that's kind of the last thing that busy business owners is on their mind. Like, okay, I need to hire someone. What's the next step? Create a job description. Like, I would love for a product to start to give me a template. So if I want to hire a manager, for my department store, it's kind of like, well, can you generate a template for me based on what you know about my company and what you know that I'm looking for, so I don't have to type it up myself, right? So I think that that's part
Hmm.
one. And part two is, now that we've found these candidates, do I have to like start from scratch every email? Like, hey, we would like you to apply to this job. Hey, we would like you to come interview for this job.
Hmm.
Having those automatically,
Yeah.
I think that the concept of just saving time is something that AI does so well. Even in our personal lives, I think AI, one of the biggest capabilities is is efficiency and time savings.
When we think about the marketing tech stack, and I'm going to ask you this because you've written books about it and taught LinkedIn courses and stuff, where does customer experience fit into that?
First, I would also love to hear your take on this question, since I know that I know that you're putting out a course on customer experience stack. Um, there's a couple things. I first think that customer experience really permeates through everything. It's every single interaction that a customer has with your business, across sales, across product, and across marketing. I like to think of creating an effective marketing tech stack as a tech stack that's based on outcomes, you know.
Hmm.
So when your customer visits your site and you want a personalized experience from them, maybe you want, based on their industry or based on their country, the website to look differently. Maybe you want a chatbot to pop up in their language. That takes a ton, like even though it's seamless to the customer and a delightful experience, it takes a ton of technology to actually pull off. It takes like a CMS tool. It takes personalization tool. It takes a chat bot that can detect their language. All of these type things need to work together in harmony to create a great customer experience. And one of the things that I talk about in my course and in my book is that you shouldn't create a tech stack just because you think you need something or you see that your competitors are using it. Oh, I noticed that business, they're using this email tool. Or I heard a commercial that I need to use this sales CRM. You know, just because you think you need to do it isn't a strong enough justification to have it be part of your tech stack. My advice is to always think about the customer experience that you want, then think about the tools that you need to create that. And that, I think, is a core part of the Martech strategy that I advocate for.
So when you think about Martech, do you think about the post sale as well, or are you mostly thinking about the acquisition, the pre sale?
That's a good question. I do think that post sale customer success and customer service sometimes takes the back seat. And I do think that a lot of marketing is very acquisition focused. Um, and I think that that's a lot of that is because I especially think in startup culture, it's about growing fast at all costs. So there's a big, heavy emphasis on acquisition. I think that many companies can do a lot better at retaining and delighting customers. I think that marketing, while marketing technology, I do think there is a good category of marketing technology that is centered around how are customers doing and how should we retain them. My overall thought is that it needs to work together seamlessly with the acquisition tools. I think we can do a lot better job at making sure to prioritize things like post sale and customer success.
Obviously, I agree, but I am the customer experience advocate. Hey, let me ask you one question that I personally had to answer, which is not the easiest, but I know you can do it. If we are shopping together for a marketing technology tech stack and we go to the store and we have our cart, what goes in the cart to complete that MarTech stack?
There's a few things that I think pretty much every business needs. It's more about core competencies rather than the actual tools themselves. So,
Mhm.
the way that I like to think about it is that you need a way to attract customers and then convert them. You also
Mhm.
need a way to support your sales team if you're in a B2B environment, a way to support their sales team in engaging those customers. Um, you need to have the data about your customers so you can make better decisions. You need to be able to look at your data and understand how your business is performing. And you need to manage the work, all of that work that needs to be done in a very connected and orchestrated way.
Mhm.
So, if we start about that, if we approach it and try to figure out all of those use cases, you're going to need a CMS, which is a content management system that hosts the website and basically uh, um, manages your site as an essentially a storefront that's dynamic and personalized. You'll need a marketing automation platform or email platform to engage customers and convert them. You'll need a customer relationship management system, such as a Salesforce or like maybe a HubSpot. By the way, some of these tools do more than one thing, so you might be able to like have some savings there. So you need a CRM to support your sales team and keep a lot of the data that you have on your customers. Generally, you need a central place to store data because data is the lifeblood of our business now since everything's so digital. And that can either be a customer data platform or a data warehouse. You need analytics tools. That could be a Tableau, Power BI, or a Looker to understand. I mean, for earlier stage companies, you can just use spreadsheets for a while, but for really for really data, if the volume of your data grows, you definitely need a solution to store your data and analyze it. And then finally, I'm a big fan of project management and workflow platforms. Work should not be done over Slack and over email. You need a Asana, Trello, Jira, Monday.com, whatever it is, so everyone can understands what work is being done and the role that they play and when everything is due. So I know I
Yeah.
said a lot there, but that's what I would put in the cart.
That's awesome. Well, I know it's not an easy topic, and I know because I, like you, had to like get my head around it to be able to teach it as well. Let's get to know you a little bit, Darrel, before we let you go back to your day job and life in Irvine. You ready to take some rapid fire questions?
Yes, I am
Okay.
ready.
All right. Question number one. What's the most important part of your morning routine?
Drinking water.
Okay. Good.
Sorry, that's
And
so boring. Is it too boring?
no, so the last one said drinking coffee. You need both, really. So the two of you together would have a perfect morning. What show, in my opinion, what show are you currently streaming?
Fallout. That's a
Uh-huh.
new one. It's on Amazon Prime. Used to be a video game. Um,
Oh,
I will say my favorite show of recent was The Last of Us. I don't know if you watched that one. That was on HBO.
no.
But yeah, I'm watching
Sci-fi?
Fallout, and The Last of Us is my current favorite.
Okay. And what's your idea of perfect happiness?
A really big library.
Mm-hmm.
Being
Okay.
in a really big library. I can answer that question so many different ways, but I will say I feel very at peace and at home and simultaneously relaxed and energized when I have a lot of books that I could read. So
Oh,
that's
that's
me.
awesome. What a cool answer. What is one mental health strategy for managing hard days?
I've been doing this recently. I convert a lot of my meetings, and being in a leadership role, I'm a manager of managers. So meaning that I manage people that also manage people. So that's a fancy way of saying mostly everything I do is meetings. And I I have found that I get a mental health boost if I convert 1 out of 3 meetings into a walking phone meeting. So I get outside instead of being on Zoom. I will call the person and then just have a great conversation about their projects while I'm walking around the park or walking my dog, getting some this fresh Southern California sunshine. And
So
that's one of my
smart.
mental health tips. Mm.
Okay, got it. Like it. What is your favorite type of vacation?
Hawaii, hands down.
Yes, perfect. And if you could have lunch with anyone dead or alive, who would it be?
Maybe Bill Gates. I'm really a big fan of Bill Gates. This is kind of like a knee-jerk response, but one of the things that I read about him that he does is he does a week every year and secludes himself in a little cabin or a little house, and he just reads for a week straight and no one can bother him. And I'm like, that is a great idea. I wish I could do that, and I'd love to talk to you about it.
Mhm. Mhm. Okay. He couldn't have lunch with you that week though, just so you know.
Yeah, very true. Very
If
true.
you if you had to describe your outlook in one quick motto, what would it be?
So I'm going to give you a work one and not a life one because I like to try to spread this message. I work in something called marketing operations, and marketing operations is the art and science of executing great marketing. And there is so much, people think that operations is boring and it's just project management and crunching numbers and planning and budgeting. I will tell you, operations is the essence of execution. And there are so many companies and so many people out there that have wonderful ideas, but they can't execute. They can't get the job done. And the key to getting the job done is to have great operations. So just
Yeah.
throwing that out there.
Yeah. I'm one of those people, like, I love to start things. Like, I'm always thinking, "Oh, I'm gonna start cooking something." I hate finishing it.
It's tough. I mean,
Yeah.
and you're a course creator as well, right? It's the toughest thing. It's the toughest thing to finish. Like it's easy to start. It's so difficult.
I think creative people, like, suffer from this where, like, in theory, it's like, "Oh, that would be so great." But, yeah, you need like, my husband's more operations of, like, the tactics. And so you need both. You need both sides of that brain working or both types of people. This has been really interesting, and I would love to have you back, even next year to talk more about what you're up to, Darrell. Thanks so much for joining. If people wanna learn more about you or buy your book, I know you mentioned at the beginning you wanna give it one more plug for our listeners?
Sure, it's called the Martech Handbook by Darrel Alfonso. And yeah, if you're a couple things, if you're looking to learn more about me, you can follow me or connect with me on LinkedIn. That's one of my number one. I also recently launched a newsletter called the Marketing Operations Leader, and it's on Substack. So check it out.
Oh, nice. Congratulations for that. Well, everybody, you have been tuning in to the Modern Customer Podcast with our Martech expert, Darrell Alfonso. Thank you for tuning in. Until next time. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel or follow me on social media, including Instagram, LinkedIn, X, and more.